Shanti. These are some thoughts on the Murli of the 13th of February, 2022. Today we're repeating the Murli of the 10th of January, 1990. You'll recall that last Sunday we were hearing the Murli of the 6th of January, 1990, and Baba has begun this topic of the holy swans. In the Avyakt Murlis, we hear from Shiv Baba mainly the type of effort that Brahma Baba made and the stage that Brahma Baba kept. And in this Murli we're hearing about Mama's qualities. Saraswati is shown as riding a swan, and so Baba is explaining that Mama had this great intellect that was able to discern, it was able to take good decisions, and it was able to absorb and inculcate Baba's knowledge. And then the rest of us, we have these qualities in a percentage, and Baba wants us to develop those qualities further and move it towards 100%. So Baba is explaining that the first usage of that is in relation to Baba. Baba gives us a blessing of a divine intellect, and then we've got to develop that. So when we first of all hear Baba's knowledge, inside of us, something is triggered. So your conscience, your heart, they both recognize Baba. Sometimes actually the concepts don't register that much, but there's something inside of you that has awakened, that has been triggered, and you have picked up that Shiv Baba is here, and there is something here. So discernment is not just about rational thinking, it's something a little bit deeper than that. It does involve our conscience, it does involve our heart. And you have discerned that this is Shiv Baba. That then leads you to take some decisions, and you decide to adopt a new lifestyle of purity and study Baba's knowledge. So your life changes in many ways. And then as we hear the Murli, we begin to develop the ability to put it into practice. Probably to start off with, we're hearing it just to understand. But then over time, we're working on putting it into practice and becoming the embodiment of that. And so over the years, our recognition, our discernment, our decision making, because our understanding of the Murli improves. The yoga we're having also makes things clearer for us. The cloudiness of the intellect reduces. So we're understanding Baba better over time. And then together with that, we're also getting to know ourselves. And so who I am, we've accepted ourselves as being angels and deities. And so we're motivated to become that again. Then the second type of discernment is in relation to others. And Baba is saying that you've got to feel the pulse. All of us have this experience, whether it's with students, or whether it's with employees, or whether it's within your family, that feedback is something which has to be handled very delicately. And probably most of us are guilty of using feedback inappropriately. And so it causes more damage, it causes conflict in relationships, it can cause people to distance themselves from us. All sorts of negative implications of that. So Baba is saying that you're going to really need to discern what a person needs and also what they can handle. at a particular time, and whether you should be saying it or not. He's giving the example of a doctor who misdiagnoses. So then the illness just gets worse. Or if they give the wrong dose, and so the patient can't take it, so then the medicine itself causes more damage. So Baba is saying that you've got to be very cautious with feedback. You've got to be really clear that it is right to say something, and you are the right person, and this is the right time before you say anything. And then there's the discernment in terms of the knowledge that we should share. So Baba is saying that there'll be some souls, they prefer to focus on meditation. They have a desire for liberation. So you're going to need to meet that first. And then perhaps over time, they might decide to go for Jivan Mukti, liberation in life, and think about becoming a deity and an angel. But if you just go into that first, then they won't be interested. Also, some people, they like values topics like tolerance or something practical. And they might not be interested in the theory and the philosophy, the cycle and the tree. Some people, it's the other way around. So you've got to discern that too. And I think most centers, they have a bit of everything, don't they? And then the third discernment is really knowing yourself and taking decisions for yourself. Now, we're all different and we've all got different journeys, but over time, our decision making has to improve. When we're new as Brahmins, we're just trying to figure things out, and we're learning how things are done as well. So we tend to rely a lot on other people's understandings and other people's guidance as to what to do. And that's okay. But we are influenced by other Brahmins, by seniors, could be anyone. And there's a level where we are still needy. So we have a need to belong, we have a need to please, we have a need for approval, and so on. And so our decision making can also be even our willingness to who we listen to and why we listen to someone. That can also be driven by fear. Fear maybe that we don't want to admit to ourselves. And we have to, over time, get to know ourselves. And our attachments to the yajna, our attachments to service, our attachments to people, all of these things can deceive us. Our discernment of time, our discernment of circumstances, all of these things can be faulty because they might be based on different biases, they might be based on different emotions and attitudes. So over time we've got to carry on having yoga, carry on hearing the Murli, and our own intellect will continue to become more clear. So then the influences that we've allowed, we can begin to trust ourselves more. We can spend a lot of our Brahmin life quite unconscious really about ourselves. We sort of are just going along. We're just doing it. But then we become more conscious over time. We're aware of ourselves and who we really are and what we really need. And then what's right for us. As Brahmins, we've got to think about our personal selves and we've got to think about service and what the yajna needs. And sometimes we mix the two up a little bit. But actually over time we might think, okay, well, for my personal life I need to do these things. And then for the center, for the yagya, I need to leave others to decide on those things. So all of these things we figure out as we go along. And, I think back, and when I was younger, I used to listen to lots of people and lots of seniors, and I was definitely under influences. And then, I'm sure people just advise you to the best that they can. But about 20 years ago, I just took a decision that I'm going to take my own decisions and trust myself. So you might make mistakes along the way, but over time, as you keep going with yoga, keep going with the Murli, then Baba really helps. What Baba also says is that if one of the senior brothers or sisters you've relied on their advice and it's been bad advice, that Baba will put it right. And I've also had that experience, I have to say, as well. But then I suppose the challenge to us is, well, why not get it right in the first place? Why were you reliant? Why did you not have your own good decision making? So that's the other message of today's Murli, that on one side, some things you're not in control, so you just got to trust that Baba will put everything right. Some things it's to do with your personal life, and you have to ask yourself, well, why are you making someone decide for you? Is it some fear inside of you? And then if you're taking your own responsibility for your life, then you will also make some mistakes along the way. But you got to trust yourself, trust your connection with Baba, and be humble and learn. And then if in some circumstance you followed some advice from an instrument, then Baba's there to put it right. So I've had that experience, so I can testify to that over time Baba puts things right. But why not? Why don't we just get it right in the first place? That's what Baba's saying to us. And all of that is linked with our yoga and our study of the Murli. It will continue to refine our intellect, and we've got to reflect on ourselves and really get to know ourselves, and also analyze our circumstance, our drama, and what we need to do in each point. And so then we won't make mistakes and that we've got to then regret and put right. But Baba's wanting us to develop such discernment that we get things right in the first place. And what Baba's saying to us is, through the day, just carry on transforming ordinariness into specialness, into spirituality. So through the day, our thoughts, words, actions, they can be ordinary. Our vision can be ordinary. So let's work on transforming that, and that will then continue to refine our intellect. Om Shanti.